start with one very important topic of circuit theory of electronics and communication branch. This topic is known as power sources in any circuit. I am PD Upadhyay. I am BTech with honors in electronics and communication. So let us start with the first topic, power sources in any circuit. Now first we look at the classification of circuit elements. How the circuit elements are classified. To understand this, we note that the basis for the classification of the circuit elements is whether the element supplies power or they receive power. So on this basis we classify the elements are, see, since the basis is either supplying power or receiving power, so we can classify them either supplying power or receiving power. So those that supply power are known as active elements, and those that receive power will be known as passive elements. So what we can see from this classification is that the elements, active elements, are also known as power sources. Now there are some rules for the identification of elements. What is the rule? The rule is that if the element absorbs the power, then we say that the element is a passive element. Like for example, we have resistor always absorbs power in the form of heat, it dissipates power in the form of heat. Like we have inductor, in the same way we have capacitor. So these elements are passive elements because they absorb the power, and whenever the element absorbs the power, we have a convention in which we take the power to be negative whenever the element is absorbing the power. So in case of RLC, whenever we have to choose a sign for the power, we always say that the power in these elements, in passive elements, is going to be always negative. The second rule is that if the element delivers power, that means there will be voltage source and there will be current source. So whenever the element delivers power, the element will be always active element. Like I already said, it will be a voltage source, current source, like that. It can also be operational amplifier and so on. And by convention we choose that power, associated power, to be positive power. So that is the convention that we choose. Next we see how, in this lecture, that we will only discuss about the classification of power sources. In the earlier slide we saw that elements are classified as active and passive, and in this slide, in this particular lecture, we will discuss only about the active element, that are the power sources. So the power sources are mainly classified as, by definition we all know that the power sources are those that deliver the power. So we classify the power sources as either they are independent or they are dependent. How they are classified as independent and dependent, that we shall see further, but as of now we will see the broad classification. The independent ones are further classified into ideal and practical. The detailed definition we will see further. And the dependent ones are classified as, dependent ones can be dependent upon voltage or they can be dependent upon current. There is no dependency on resistance or power or temperature. There is dependency, that dependency can only be in the form of voltage or current. So if the element are dependent upon voltage, they will be known as voltage dependent sources. So there can be two sources which are dependent on voltage, the voltage dependent voltage source or the voltage dependent current source, and second class dependency can be on current. So on this they can be further classified as current dependent voltage source or current dependent current source. Now the ideal source cannot be a power source or any other source, it can only be a voltage or current source. Similarly, the practical source will also be a voltage or a current source. Now we will discuss in detail what are dependent, independent, voltage dependent and ideal practical sources. So let us start. First we shall see about the independent sources. So let us start with the definition of independent sources. The definition of independent sources says that whenever the delivered voltage or current, whenever the delivered voltage or current is independent, the main word is independent, the word is independent, and the independent, it should be independent of the presence of other or absence of other elements in the circuits, whether there is resistor or inductor, even transformer or diode, the delivered voltage or current should not be dependent upon that. It should supply constant value of either voltage or current. So independent power sources are the ones which deliver constant voltage or current. Now in this we can further classify them as ideal or practical power sources. The ideal ones are those which will have either a constant voltage or they will have a constant current. Those are the ideal sources. The voltage should be constant along with resistance. The current should be constant along with resistance. Both cannot be constant. Only one can be constant. So these are the ideal power sources, and second one will be the practical power sources. The practical power sources, we can already see that they will neither have constant voltage nor they will have constant current. So whenever the neither the voltage nor the current is constant, we say that the voltage sources are practical power sources. Now we will see in detail what are ideal power sources. So in ideal power sources, we saw that there are two types of ideal power sources, ideal voltage and ideal current sources. So we'll discuss first with the ideal voltage source. What is a voltage source? See, any power source, what it does is that it delivers energy. It delivers, basically it does not deliver voltage or current, it delivers energy. That is the first fundamental thing that should be clear to us, that what are voltage sources, what are current sources. These are basically energy delivering elements. They deliver energy at what? At some constant voltage. In case of ideal voltage, say voltage source, we say that they deliver constant energy, they deliver energy at constant voltage. That voltage is independent of current through the source. The current through the source may increase or decrease, but the voltage across the source will always be a constant. More important thing is that the internal resistance of ideal voltage source is always zero. These are some conventions which we have to keep in mind while learning anything new, that the internal resistance of ideal voltage source by convention is assumed to be always zero. Now as far as the symbol of an ideal voltage source goes, we have a voltage source in which the voltage source is represented by a circle. We need to keep in mind that we cannot choose any arbitrary shape. We have to keep the shape as circular, and that circular shape, we have to keep the shape as circular, and that is a convention. The circular shape cannot be changed into triangular or rectangular, because that will change the nature of the power source. So the ideal voltage source is one in which the we choose a circular design to be representing the voltage source, and then we choose plus and minus as the polarities of the voltage source. Moreover, since the internal resistance of the ideal voltage source is zero, we don't mention any resistance either in series or in parallel with the voltage source. Also, since we say that their delivered energy, the delivered energy is always constant, the delivered energy is at a constant voltage. So in this graph we can say that the voltage in this line is always a constant. The voltage is always constant, but the current can increase or decrease. See, in the x-axis we can say the y-axis is always constant. The y-axis represents the voltage. Voltage is always constant. The resistance can increase or decrease. And how does the resistance increase or decrease? According to the current can increase or decrease according to the resistance. If you increase the resistance, the current decreases. If you decrease the resistance, the current increases. But the fact is that since we are talking about ideal voltage sources, the voltage is always a constant. In the same way, we discussed ideal current source. Ideal current sources are same, they are just the analogous to voltage sources. The ideal current sources are those which is capable of delivering what? Capable of delivering energy. Deliver energy at constant current. The energy is delivered at constant current value. The current value in this case is independent of the voltage across the source. In case of ideal voltage source, the voltage was independent of current. Here the current is independent of voltage. And in case of ideal current source, the internal resistance is always assumed to be infinity. And since we, in the case of just like in case of ideal voltage source, we assume the convention, by convention we made one circular design, and that circular design, in that circular design we made plus and minus to be representing the voltage source. In the same way, in case of ideal current source also we make the same circular. See, circle is very essential. If you don't make circle, you will run into dependent power sources. Since we are talking of independent, it is a very must convention that we always choose the shape of the power source to be circular, and the arrow will point towards the direction of the current through the source. And we don't make any resistance either in series or in parallel with the current source, because it is assumed to be infinity. So by convention we choose it to be infinity, and that is why for ideal current source we never mention any we never mention any resistance. And in case of current source, the current source is capable of delivering energy at constant current, as we already saw in the definition. So since the current is constant, we can see that the current is represented in the y-axis. So the current value will always be constant along this y-axis. But the voltage is, the current is independent of voltage, so the voltage can increase or decrease. See, in the x-axis we can see the voltage or resistance. So the voltage can increase or decrease, but the value of current will always remain to be same. How the voltage will increase or decrease? According to the resistance value. Now let us talk about practical voltage sources. The practical voltage sources are the ones for which the output voltage does not remain constant. The practical one says the it does not remain constant. Why it does not remain constant? Because of the losses in the actual sources. It does not remain constant, but it varies. It varies what? It varies with the resistance which is present in the circuit. So practical voltage sources are the ones in which the output voltage does not remain constant but varies with the resistance. Moreover, in case of ideal voltage source, we assume the internal resistance to be zero, but here we assume it to be more than zero. That is another difference between ideal and practical voltage sources. Thirdly, how do you represent it? In case of ideal voltage source, we represented it only by this much of encircled part of the voltage source which I have encircled. We only make a voltage source with a plus minus and with a circular design. But here in this case, since we are assuming the internal resistance is not zero, and by convention we always choose a voltage source to be having a resistance in series. This is a convention. For one voltage source we assume the resistance to be in series, and for current source we assume the resistance to be in parallel. That is the convention that we always choose. So in this case we assume that there is a resistance. We can name it any resistance. Here I have mentioned rs means the source resistance. This vs means source voltage, rs means source resistance. There is a source resistance by convention which will always be in series with the source voltage. That is how you represent a practical voltage source. And since we can see that there is a resistance, there is always will be a voltage drop. So this voltage drop can be clearly seen from this graph, which is not constant along this line, but it decreases along this line. So the decrease in the voltage is because of this resistance rs. In the same way, we can see practical current source also. The current sources for which the output current will not remain constant. The output current will not remain constant but will vary with the resistance which is present in the circuit. And since it varies with the resistance in the circuit, we can see that in case of ideal current source, we saw that the internal resistance is infinity, but in this case we see that we assume the internal resistance to be somewhat less than infinity. It is going to be high, but it is going to be less than infinity. It is going to be measurable. Regarding the representation, voltage source we always represented in series with the resistance, but for current source we always choose the resistance to be in parallel with the actual current source. And in case of ideal current source, we assume the current source just this encircled portion, but here we'll have to represent the resistance rs. or in this case the RS field is going to be in parallel with the current source. See, this is a convention. Whenever we have to represent a voltage source, we always choose a resistance to be in series with the voltage source. In case of current source, we always make a resistance in parallel with the current source. Let us move to dependent power sources. For dependent power source, the word dependent clearly say that it should be dependent upon some quantity, and as I have already mentioned, the dependency can either be in the form of voltage or current, and there cannot be any third dependency. So the sources for which the delivered voltage or current is it depends on either the voltage across any other element or the current through any other element. There can be either voltage or current dependency. So if the voltage or current, it depends upon either voltage or it depends upon either current, in that case that will be known as dependent power sources. So if the dependency is on voltage, they will be known as voltage dependent power sources, in which we can see that either the output voltage or the output current depends upon voltage across any other element in the circuit. It can be another source, another voltage or current source, it can be any passive element, resistor, inductor, capacitor, but that the voltage across that element will decide what is going to be the value of current or voltage through this source. Secondly, we can see that there are current dependent power sources for which the output voltage or current will depend upon the current through any other element in the circuit. So in this case we can see that the sources for which the voltage dependent, for which the magnitude of voltage depends upon and the voltage on some other element present in the circuit. So clearly we can see that there are four categories: voltage dependent voltage source and voltage dependent current source. In case of voltage dependent voltage source, the source voltage, main thing is source voltage. The thing that comes in the last, voltage source, will decide what is going to be the output. Here the Vs means voltage source. It is going to be the source voltage that will be dependent upon some voltage. In case of VDCS, the current VDCS, the last letter says current source. So there will be the source current that will be dependent upon current through some other element in the circuit. Now I have given two reference circuits from which we can see that how to describe the VDVS and VDCS. In this case we are having this resistance which is having some voltage VCD across it, and whenever VCD changes, the voltage, output voltage, the source voltage also changes across this. And now you can see that I have chosen the square diagram to represent this type of voltage. So this is a convention, and that is why I earlier mentioned that whenever we have to represent independent power sources, we have to choose a circular diagram to represent the source, because if we choose a circular or a rhombus shaped uh, power source, it will become dependent. So this is how you represent dependent voltage source. In the same way, in this diagram you can see that we have represented a dependent current source. Why? Because in this case the output current, the current through IAB, this IAB current is dependent upon what? It is dependent upon VCD. It is still dependent upon the voltage across some other element. So we remove the proportionality sign to choose one any number eta. Here we have chosen eta, here we can choose k. Last but not the least, we have current dependent power sources. The definition says that the output current, the magnitude of output voltage or current depends upon current the current flowing through some other element which is present in the circuit. So according to this, we have current dependent voltage source and current dependent current source. In case of current dependent voltage source, the source voltage will be dependent upon current through some other element, and in case of current dependent current source, the source current will depend upon current through some other element, like we can see here. In this case, for current dependent voltage source, the voltage is dependent upon current through some element. This element, the ICD is flowing through this element, and the voltage, the VAB, is dependent upon this current. So whenever we remove the proportionality sign, we choose some number, some constant RE in this case, like we have chosen. And same is the case of current dependent current source. This is the source, the triangular, the square shaped, that is the source, and the value of the current through this source is dependent upon what? ICD. Why? Because IAB is proportional to ICD. If we remove the proportionality sign, we'll have beta ICD. Beta is just a constant. So that is all about power sources in any circuit. Thank you.